Live on a Sunday evening. Welcome on into the bullpen. I am your host, Adam the Bull, and I know some of you were worried about me. I was going late. It's been kind of a crazy day. I apologize for being late for the show. My son had a swim meet today, so I was planning on going a little later. And of course, so here was anyway. I'll tell you a real quick story. So my son left his phone at Cleveland State. So anyway, it was crazy. We had to go back, and that's why we're going really late. So I'm not having health problems. I know people were worried about me. I appreciate it. Happy Hanukkah to all of you. I know a couple people wish me a happy Hanukkah, so thank you. Tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to you, and Christmas right around the corner, obviously. But my son had a nice swim meet, and we were all set to do the show about an hour and 20 minutes ago, and then things went a little crazy. But everything's all right, at least for me. Not so much for the Browns. It was, wow. That was a pretty ugly game. So I watched the first 2.5 quarters from my house, and then I watched part of the game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter in between swim events for my son on my phone. And I wish I could have shut it off, and eventually I did. Before I did not watch the garbage time at the end in the fourth quarter, but that game was a complete debacle across the board. Everybody played terribly. Nobody played well in this game. I'll say Isaiah Bond had a good game. I know Carson Swessinger had 1 million tackles, and Myles Garrett had 1.5 sacks to get closer to the record. But overall, this was a absolutely dreadful game. Shedeur Sanders played very poorly in this game. 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. Obviously, one of them was not his fault. Jerry Jeudy. It's funny. Everybody was going nuts about Jerry Jeudy last year. He was getting all this love. And I was like, come on, slow your roll. The guy's been inconsistent. I'm not completely buying in on Jerry Jeudy. And then this year's been the opposite. Everybody's killed him, and I've kind of defended him a little bit. And I've stopped recently, and this is like the final straw. I mean, once again, his terrible play leads to a turnover, what probably should have been a touchdown. And across the board, the offense was atrocious. They couldn't run the ball. Most of the passing yards, the 2 long passes to Bond were pretty much it until garbage time. He was peppering Harold Fannin with a lot of targets. It's a nice play by the defense on that last pick. The other pick was a terrible throw by him. A really bad misread. And it was just so I can't say anything good about anybody on the offense. Shedeur Sanders was lousy. He was lousy. You saw once again, as bad as he was and as bad as they were, you saw a couple of magical throws. The 2 throws to Bond, the play to Jeudy that he blew. I mean, there was some, even in a terrible performance, you still saw a couple of throws. It's like with Cam Ward, right? Cam Ward, there's been a lot of games this year where he's played terribly, but you see something there. Caleb Williams, last year, he was terrible for the most part, but you saw something, and now Caleb Williams in year 2 has put it all together. I thought he was great, especially in the first half. Great. And he's gotten better and better. And I know what people say, well, those guys were first overall pick and not Shedeur Sanders. And you're right. I'm not, we'll see how good Shedeur Sanders is. Time goes by. Obviously, I can't say it was a step forward. It was clearly a step backward from last week. But I tell you, as bad as the performance by Shedeur Sanders was, obviously, a couple things here. Number one, I don't know that any quarterback could have succeeded in this situation. If you talk about the opportunistic ability of the defense, you talk about I mean, the Browns' offensive line, this was next level hideous. He was under pressure from jump all the time. He really had no chance. Now again, I'm not giving him a total pass. He played poorly because I wouldn't give the other guys a total. You know damn well if Dylan Gabriel played like this, everybody'd be killing him. Terrible game. I'd say it's still terrible game for him and anybody else. And I'd also say about Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders that there's no chance. The difference is when Dylan Gabriel played poorly, there was no throws that got me excited. Not the case here. So terrible performance by the offensive line. Terrible is not a strong enough word. And it's all backups, right? You got one starter who's retiring at the end of the year and then 4 backups. So you're using your 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th offensive linemen along with a guy who was great and now is in the tail end and about to retire. They can't pass block. They can't run block. I thought they played okay last week. This was just, obviously you had Conklin for part of the game last week. But now, I mean, you've just lost everybody. Bitonio's your only starter. It's going to be ugly, these final few games. It's going to be very ugly. You're going to have cold weather. And obviously, that played a factor, too. It was just, obviously, brutal out on the field. It didn't bother the Bears, though, much. Caleb Williams was tremendous. Great combination of Monangai and Swift. I thought Swift, in particular, played really well. Luther Burden had a good game. Colston Loveland, their rookie tight end, played really well, too. And in the end, 31-3. It was not a game. The defense stinks right now. The defense absolutely stinks. Just terrible. Is one injury enough? I mean, you got Myles Garrett. He's still getting sacks. I don't understand. One injury and the whole defense falls apart. I can understand if it was Myles Garrett. But it's not. I mean, that's just crazy. And I get that Malik Collins has been one of the Browns' better players on defense. He's probably been their second best defensive lineman, 4th best defensive player overall. But the whole defense shouldn't collapse, and the defense has been atrocious. Again, they were just absolute shit in this game. Across the board shit. But I will say this. I'm at the swim meet, and one of my son's friends, dads, I was talking to him. I know him from baseball. His name's Matt. And he said, we were talking about the Browns, and I said, I think at this point, I think the Browns. I said I think the Browns should stick with Shedeur Sanders, whether they completely believe in him or not, because for me, I just don't see a better option. And I'm usually like draft a quarterback, and in the end, the Browns may decide as a team, as an organization, whoever's making the picks, that one of the guys in this draft is better. And if that's the case, then you take them, no brainer. For me personally, based on the information I have right now, I've seen enough. Big time throws by Shedeur Sanders. I haven't seen enough. I'm not convinced he's definitely going to be a very good player in the league. There's no way you could realistically be convinced of that yet. He's got so much to prove. I mean, he's played one really good game in 4 so far. But if you look at some of the big time throws he's made compared to the other guys, and maybe I'm just so have such a low bar because it's the Browns. I don't know. I see something with this guy. Am I 100% sure? Of course not. I'm not. The Shedorians, I get it. They've been convinced from the beginning. I'm not 100% sure. I just don't think there's a better answer right now. And I want to see Shedeur with an improved roster, and I want to see what he's got next year. And if next year he's not good enough, if they get better around them, they get 3 new offensive linemen too high in the draft. They get a big time wide receiver in the first round. and the talent around him is better, and they're blocking better, and he's making a lot of mistakes, and he's not, improving, then okay, then next year you draft somebody in 2027. But I'm inclined at the moment, to see more. I want to see more of Shedeur Sanders, and I just don't know. The team is so bad right now that I don't know that we will see enough in these. And listen, if you like Dylan Gabriel, you could make really the same argument, except he didn't. Again, to me, in his 5 games, I saw no big time throws, none. There was not a single throw Dylan Gabriel made that made me say, "Wow." The first half, while I'm watching the first half, right? The offense can't get out of its own way. One stupid penalty after the next. They were total shit in the first half. And then Shedeur hits Isaiah Bond down the field. And it was really the only good play the passing game had the entire first half. But that throw is a throw that I don't think Dylan Gabriel can make. That's a great throw. And is it enough to be certain he's the guy? No, of course not. He played a bad game today. You can't hide from that. You can't hide from that. You obviously acknowledge that the talent around him is shit, especially the offensive line. You can't hide from that he played poorly today. And maybe I'm reading too much into the good throws he made today, but the overall package has me intrigued. Not sure, not set, intrigued. And maybe I'll change my mind based on 3 more games, but I don't know. You never know what's going to happen here down the stretch. But I think right now I'm inclined to say, stick with Sanders for next year. Get me a new GM. Get me a new coach. A coach that believes in Sanders, that's going to build the offense around him. Draft an offensive lineman and a wide receiver in the first round. Draft an offensive lineman in the second round. Spend free agent money on an offensive lineman and another wide receiver, or trade for one. I mean, significantly upgrade the offense next year. And then let's see what this guy's got. And then, again, if he moves forward and you're like, we've got our guy, then boom. Then you're spending a first round pick on another good player at another position in 27. And if Shedeur Sanders seems like he's not the answer after next season, then okay. Then in the 27 draft, then hopefully you can get the quarterback then. And it's just going to be really interesting to see what the Browns believe, because it's irrelevant what the Shedorians believe or what I believe or what Jason or Mikey McNuggets or G. Bush believe. It only matters what the Browns believe, led by Jimmy Haslam, who is, obviously the worst owner in the history of professional, or one of the worst owners in the history of professional sports. He's destroyed the Bucs. He's destroyed the Browns, and the Browns were already destroyed before him, and he destroyed them to another level. He is an awful, awful, awful owner. And so you got to hope they get lucky in spite of him. I cannot. Kevin Stefanski, I said last week, and I know a lot of fans got mad, that, yes, when the quarterback succeeds, some of the credit has to go to the coach. And a lot of fans got mad about that. Not really from me, because there were other people who wanted to give the coach more credit than I did, which is, how much credit you give is stupid. But, well, then, if he's going to get some of the credit when Shedeur plays well, then he's got to get some of the blame when Shedeur plays poorly. And Kevin Stefanski, the team is not prepared to play. Coming out of timeouts, coming out of kicks where they have to delay of games, they're not ready. The communication's bad. And then Kevin Stefanski, the one thing I've defended him for a lot is being aggressive. With the 2-point conversions last time. And what I don't understand, like in the first quarter, the offense had no life, right? You punted the first possession was just a fucking disaster. Then the Bears score. And then you get it back, right? First 2 plays, you get a penalty. Nothing's going right. And then Shedeur with a nice scramble. Not a great slide by him. He should have gotten that first down. But still a nice play. He falls a half yard short after they changed the call, and then you punt. And I know if he would have gone for it, a lot of fans would have been like, "What are you doing?" But the Browns, what the fuck do they have to lose? You're 3-10 coming into the game. It's 3rd and inches. I understand it's at your own 30-yard line, but get a little energy for the offense. Shador just had a nice run. Like, get a fucking first down. And they punt, and then the Bears go right down the field and take a 14-0 lead. And who knows? Maybe they wouldn't have gotten it anyway. I don't know, but just go for it there. What the fuck? All right. I need a tissue, to be honest, and I don't have any tissues on my desk here. So I need to blow my nose. So I'm just going to give we're going to deal. I'm a little nasally. I will not be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off. I have to take care of some things tomorrow, but I'll be back on UCSS on Tuesday. Of course, I will be back here with Dustin on Tuesday as well and Thursday. I want to let you know that BetRivers players who place a same-game parlay of at least $10 on NFL or NCAA football games will receive an entry into the weekly Squares game. Winning Squares can earn up to a $50 bonus bet per entry. See the BetRiver app or website for more details. Thank you for being a player. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Man, my beard is looking grubby. I'm going to have to shave tomorrow before I go back on the air, both here and UCSS on Tuesday. Thank you to the hundreds who are watching right now. I appreciate you. All right, let's get some comments from the fans. Mark Joslin says, start Deshaun. That's a hard pass for me. Unless you just, you know what? Maybe you will start Deshaun. Just so Shador doesn't get hurt, because I don't know how he's going to survive 3 more games as bad as this offensive line is. So maybe Deshaun is going to play. Joe Kabik, do we get a bull rant on the Cavs, or are they no longer worth it? Stick around, because I will get to the Cavs for the end of the show. And an embarrassing overtime loss. And this was supposed, they had their team. All right, I'll get to it. Just stand by. Yes, the Cavs suck right now, J-Bone. Let's see. J-Bone, Bull, big man to big man. You're my guy. Thank you, J-Bone. Let's see. Savage says Stefanski gotta go. Samuel Pucco, trade Jerry Jeudy ASAP. Not reliable. How are you going to trade him? Who would take him? He's overpaid. He stinks. Nobody would want him. You can't trade him. D-Pause says get rid of Bubba. Yeah, the special teams was fucking horrible too. Again. Elizabeth says, I don't care what the pick. It's the same situation. I don't know. Mick says Kevin and Berry need to go. No questions asked. I agree. Savage says the team's not disciplined. I agree. Wayne Court, Shador holds the ball too long because nobody can get separation. That's part of it. Let's see. Jim Eagle. Yeah, Manziel. Yeah, Johnny Manziel. Shut the fuck up, Johnny Manziel. That fucking piece of shit is on his pot. Oh, he and Braylon Edwards, another fucking loser. Those two assholes are on some podcast, the Cleveland media. Listen, people say, oh, you always stand up for the media. I take shots at our own Cleveland media all the time, more than any other member of the Cleveland media. Johnny Manziel and Braylon Edwards, two big fucking clowns, especially Johnny Manziel. He's going to blame the media? The guy was an absolute shit show. Most of his teammates hated him because he was a clown. Shut the fuck up, Johnny Manziel. Yeah, if you can't handle I love it. It cracks me up when people say the Cleveland media. They're this, they're that. They want the team. Nobody in the Cleveland media that I know, and I know most people, wants the Browns to lose. That's so stupid. Why would any of us want the Browns to lose? It's bad for business, if nothing else. And these players, like and I can't even call Johnny a player because he's a clown. You think the Cleveland media is tough? Cleveland media is soft as Charmin. You just think they're negative because the team always sucks. People are so fucking stupid. Raul Havana, is Whedon still under the flag? Might be. Okay. The Cavs, I'll talk about the Cavs for a minute because they really aren't. They had their team meeting, and I remember Jay saying the other day in UCS, well, we'll see what this team is made of now. Well, they had a 6-game stretch where they're playing shit teams. They barely beat the Wizards, who are the worst team in the league. They're playing for 6 games outside of the Bulls, who are just probably normal bad. The other teams they're playing are worst teams in the league. Washington was 3-19, and the Cavs had to rally to score 45 in the fourth quarter to beat them the other day. And now tonight they lose in overtime. They don't even score in overtime. Are you fucking? They had to rally back in the fourth to tie it, and then they don't even score in overtime. The Cavs just stink. But in the end, it doesn't matter. They were great last year, and then they couldn't win couldn't win a thing when it mattered. Donovan Mitchell was getting on Jared Allen because Jared Allen's soft as Charmin. DeAndre Hunter, what's he doing out there? 27 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds. Jeez. They were, Donovan had a rough shooting night. 1 of 11 from 3. Oof. Man, but I give him a pass. But obviously Mobley's out for a while. It's just all kinds of ugly with the Cavs. It's ugly right now. You got I heard Chris Antonetti on MLB radio this morning giving the same bullshit song and dance. He claims, we're in on a lot with trades. We're in on a lot free agents. All right, let's do something. Don't come in here touting about Colin Holderman and Connor Brogdon and the guy you got in the Rule 5 draft. These are nice, fine mini pieces at the end of the roster. Okay, but you got to sign a real piece. Chris Antonetti had the nerve to go on MLB radio and say, well, basically we're hesitant to sign somebody on offense because we don't want to stop the progression of our young players. You have so many young players who haven't done shit. What progression? Your offense was pathetic. Now, he admitted that on the show, the front office show, that their offense is terrible. It has to be better. But this idea that it's just going to all come internally, some's got to come internally, but not all of it. Come on. Mark says, love you, Bull. Happy Hanukkah to you and your family. Thank you, Mark. Same to you if you are celebrating. Deep pause, miss Alonzo. Yeah, I wanted Alonzo. I wanted Pete Alonzo. It didn't happen. J-Bone, Hunter is a fraud. They traded 2 guys and a pick for him. Raul Havana, Ray Farmer was texting the plays to Tommy and Kevin. Chris, hey, Bull, did teams just figure out Judkins or is it a busted line? Trust me, folks. Quinshon Judkins is a really good football player. He just has no chance on it. I don't think Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, the best running backs in football would have a hard time being able to do much with this offense right now. Who do I want for the next head coach? I want Brian Flores, but I doubt they'll hire him. I'd hire Brian Flores. I need a culture setter. That guy's not afraid to, tear up a team. So that's the guy I want. But I doubt it's going to happen. I like the idea of hiring Flores and then get some young, up-and-coming offensive coordinator. A lot of people keep saying, in terms of GM, Jimmy's asking who's my GM choice. I don't know enough about, who's qualified to be a GM from other teams. I don't know. Go get somebody from a good organization. That's what I'll say. Somebody from Philly, somebody from Baltimore, San Francisco. Get somebody from those front offices. I don't know. So that would be some of the other coach people saying Byron Leftwich. I don't want a first-time head coach. I want a young. I want a second-time head coach who I don't think is washed up. Like I don't want a John Gruden. That'd be a third-time head coach. I don't want Chip Kelly. Yeah, bring Kurt Warner to be the quarterback coach. And can we get a new fucking wide receiver coach? How on earth do we have the same fucking wide receivers coach the entire time Kevin Stefanski's been here, and it's the worst unit on the team? That and the offensive line. It's crazy. All right, love y'all. Thank you for joining me today. Sorry I was late. We'll get back at it again. I'm off tomorrow from everything. And I've got the podcast with Dustin Tuesday, podcast with Dustin Thursday. I'll have Sean King on with me this week, Wednesday. Mary Kay on Friday on the podcast, and I'll be on UCSS Tuesday through Friday this week. I love you all. I really appreciate the support. Tomorrow on UCSS, I think it's going to be Dustin, G. Bush, and Jay, I believe. So there you go. All right. Love you, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks to Max and Z. You had to put in extra time waiting for me as I was late. Thanks, everybody. Love you all. Talk to you later. Peace and love. Peace.